everywhere. I remember when I was a kid and we used to feed Calration Burger and Gaines Burger, and who knew? The hell knows what was in those things. Okay. But my dogs lived to be 15. And we look at the hierarchy of foods, in my opinion, strictly, raw is probably the best thing you can feed. Now these days you're getting a new type of food coming into the market. You see it advertised on TV every now and then. It's prepared, fresh food, sometimes gently cooked. New thing just works. I think it's going to work out really well. After that, canned would be the next level that I would look at. It's a lower carbohydrate, and dry would be last. Now, dry food was developed in the late 50s, early 60s. Can anyone tell me why that was done?
No refrigeration?
That's one reason.
Less expensive.
That was a big reason.
What was that?
Less expensive.
And convenience.
Follow Campbell soup. Canning.
I mean, you go to the bag, you take out a cup, pop it into the dish,
Yeah.
and you're done. But dry food also comes with the downside that it's very carb intensive. It's cooked at very high temperature, which actually damages some of the nutrients. Dry food is typically cooked at about 290 degrees. Take all that water out. There are some dries that are out there that are a little different, that don't use rendered meats, using dehydrated meats, cooked at about 170 degrees, so the nutrients stay together. Something to look into if you want, but the price goes up with each one of these type of features. I mean, you don't have to pay $100 a bag to get dry food, but you're not going to get one for $19.
You said dry has more carbs? Is that why, since I switched to wet food, the vet referred me to use wet food instead?
Mm-hmm.
I had one cat that was heavier, and I think she's lost weight since we've switched.
Wet
so
food is much better for cats than dry food.
that's what she said.
There's two reasons why. Wet food is 70 to 80% water.
Right.
Many cats have a problem that they don't drink enough. So they can get the water from the wet food itself to help them, get enough water, because lack of water causes kidney issues and causes urinary tract ulcers. Because they can't flush them. Okay, so I always recommend people talking about cat nutrition that they always feed a wet food, even if you're feeding it dry. Some people will feed dry all day, can in the morning, can at night, to make sure they're getting all that moisture and all those vitamins.
About dogs.
Dogs.
Doesn't
Wet food is a better way of going, but it's also much more expensive. And the difference is not that as big with dogs as it is with cats. So dog, if you want to put a half can of wet food on top of the dry, reduce the dry by a little bit, they'll love you for it. Because wet food has more texture and taste, and you'll be fine. But a cat, if you can get them on can or on raw, you're going to be much better off than you are on dry. Anything else you guys have in your mind?
My question is,
Mhm.
I was feeding them Friskies, and I order it through Chewy, and they just canceled my entire order because their Friskies is doing away with 3 cans that I use. I don't want to use the pate because they won't eat it. Like, I'll leave some with gravy or sauce versus the pate, and the pate will sit there. So I stopped ordering, plus it's kind of nasty to take it out of the cans, but they did away with it. So now what do I do?
There are other
They had the larger cans, because I
12
have
ounce
multiple
cans.
cats. I have like 12 or 13 ounce cans.
There are other brands you can go to that are
Like-
they're expensive.
Would
You
you
can look at
recommend?
Dave's.
Who?
Dave's.
Dave's Cat Food?
It's a decent brand. It's made by a guy in Pennsylvania. Relatively inexpensive. I don't know if they have the stews in the big cans. That I can't tell you.
Because I was looking at another one that was pate or minced,
Which brand?
but the big cans, it's American something.
The other person who makes big cans is Wellness.
Is who?
Wellness. We're finding very few people who make big cans for cats. It's becoming a problem, because I don't know whether they don't think that cat people feed big cans, because they do.
I
think they wanna get the higher price of the smaller cans,
Yeah.
which you have to buy double the smaller cans, which
Right.
on a per pound basis are a lot more expensive than big cans.
Right.
I think that's part of it, the economics, I think, play a role in that. But there are a couple of companies that still make portions. The question is, a lot of them make that taste portions.
What brand would you recommend for dogs for the kibbles?
I don't really wanna get into brands, because I know the library has to think about commercial, okay.
Although
You could do
it's
a
it's really no
list.
different, yeah, it's no different than us looking it up for them,
Mhm.
so you could
Yeah.
certainly talk a little bit.
If you were doing
Yeah.
a kibble,
Yeah.
and you're not overly concerned about cardiomyopathy, I would feed Origin before anything else.
We feed
Origin.
Orange.
Orange.
Now, it is more expensive. Made by Champion Pet Foods, it's probably the top of the top.
Cat food as well?
Yep.
Origin.
Only dry. Origin won't make a can because they don't have a cannery, and they will not make anything, they'll not sell anything that they don't make. And so they make freeze dry, and they make dry. And I like them because very, very high meat content, very low carbohydrate. Reputation is incredible in terms of the high level of quality of their ingredients. They make everything, they get everything within 4 hours of their manufacturing plant, which is right now in Kentucky. Was in Canada, but they built the plant in Kentucky. And it's a food that I will swear by, but that's up here. If you wanna feed something that's a little more economical, then you have a food called Fromm. F-R-O-M-M. Fromm is the oldest pet food company in the United States that you've probably never heard of, okay? They started business in 1904. Family-owned business. Make all their own foods, including cans. Never had a recall in the drying. Had one recall in the can when they opened the cannery, and had an issue with the amount of something they had in relative to what they reported on the label. Okay? But, again, swear by them. When something is wrong, you got the three brothers on it. And they stand up and take responsibility. In fact, the ingredient panel I showed you here is from there. So I was.
How about even less expensive?
Go down the list, go down the low end Fromm. But Fromm makes several grades of food that sell at different price points. So you can get one that's relatively inexpensive. You can go to foods like Nutrisource. US made food made in Minnesota. Okay? Human food manufacturer. They make the best licorice you will ever taste. Okay? It's unbelievable. And they make a food on the Nutrisource label. Very reasonably priced. Meat and rice combination.
So if you wanna, I only do dry, so I should consider incorporating wet with the dog.
I would on your dog, I would suggest you try to incorporate some raw.
Raw. Meaning.
Meaning you
Raw,
got,
raw?
you can get a commercial raw, or you can get put in the butcher get raw.
You got raw at the store?
We can't talk about commercial enterprises here.
Unfortunately not, but,
Yes,
please
yes.
feel free to talk to Vince outside of the library about
Yeah.
what he does, cause I want him to be able to talk to you all about it too.
Mhm.
Just can't do it in the library.
We take, it's
So.
one of the things also when you look at this kind of stuff, and without mentioning names or anything,
Yeah,
it's more important to me that you get what's right for your animal than you get it for me.
so I need to not just do dry, I need to at least
I would strongly
consider
recommend
raw.
that you try to add some more. Your dog will love it.
Okay.
I
I
mean,
always
there's a lot of
thought
different.
dry was the way to go, and
No,
now.
it's just, that was
it's
for
not true.
convenience and cost.
I do it dry with a can.
Yeah, and you get the can, you're getting a little more than moisture.
And you just kind of like stir
Mix
it,
it
mix
together.
it. They're quite happy.
But-
I guess it depends on the wet, because I've tried wet and he didn't like it at all,
Give raw a shot.
so I'll try raw, okay.
And raw comes in a lot of different forms. They come in chubs, which look like the hot dogs. They come in patties. They come in what's called a grind, which looks like chopped meat. You scoop it out of the container and pop it in the dish. They're in exceeding orders of discussing this when you look at them that way. But you gotta get past that.
Well, isn't like fresh pet?
Fresh pet is different.
Okay,
That's
like
like-
refrigerated, I always.
It's refrigerated and it's lightly cooked.
Yeah, I see
And there are a bunch of other foods that are coming out into the market now that are also lightly cooked and certainly look worth looking at. They're gonna be sold in frozen form. Some real big names like Open Farm. Open Farm is a food that is produced in a humane way, humane certified. They just came out about 2 years ago. People weren't ready for it, came out with a dry. Now they're coming out with a gently cooked. There's farmers something, I can't think of the name else. New Food, you said it's only available direct to you from online. It's a fresh, meats and vegetables, slightly cooked. So that's another option. And again, you have to also gotta consider your budget. That's the limit for these kind of things, the way companies produce them these days. So you always look for things that are gonna be good, a good value, what I would call a good value. Okay? Not necessarily the cheapest, and not necessarily the most expensive.
I get concerned about when you've mentioned raw, salmonella.
Okay, and that's a really good question. Because that salmonella gets blown out of proportion when you're dealing with raw. Salmonella does not affect generally dogs and cats. The digestive tracts are too short. Bacteria can't multiply before they're eliminated. Salmonella could be an issue to humans feeding raw. And what I'll say is that if you take a hamburger and put it on the grill, a raw hamburger is cooked, you generally wash your hands. Plus, you know that in human food, raw human food is allowed to have a certain amount of salmonella in it. Raw dog food is not. You wash your hands at the handling raw. That eliminates the salmonella risk. And if you're handling stool, you certainly want to wash your hands before doing anything else. Okay? In fact, so that's really what the issue is with salmonella. There's currently a lawsuit in Colorado, a raw manufacturer who doesn't believe the FDA has the authority to demand a 0%, zero tolerance level of salmonella. Everyone's watching that to see how that's going to turn out. But salmonella generally does not affect those kids. Now, there are other pathogens that sometimes come from raw, especially from less scrupulous manufacturers of raw. You can get listeria. Listeria is something you certainly don't want. That will get your dog or cat sick. And there are other pathogens that come in, bacterial pathogens, that can be equally nasty. So again, when you're feeding raw, you're gonna do a commercial raw, you wanna do a raw that's got a good reputation. Doesn't have a good recall, it doesn't have a recall history. A couple of websites that you can go to. PetFoodAdvisor.com. PetFoodAdvisor.com maintains a database of recalls. So you want to find out if the food that you're insuring has recall history, you can go there, or you can go to FDA.gov. And that will also have a history of recalls. So if you go to a raw manufacturer and they've had 27 recalls in the last 10 years, maybe it's not the one you want to buy. You'll go to some of them that have none. And that's the way you want to go. In fact, Dog Food Advisor, I would suggest everybody registers on that site, because they will send you an email whenever there's a recall. We use it commercially. So we get notified of the recalls. Because if it's away from the manufacturer, it could be 5 or 6 days after the recall, and it's get around to tell you that.
Feel that you go to save on pet food, but you'll end up spending it possibly at the vet's later.
That is correct. Now you'll pay more for some of the better pet foods, but you'll pay less at the vet. Because you go to the vet usually once a year for updated vaccinations, which are questionable whether you're going to do those or not, but that's what most people do. Okay? You don't want to be at the vet every 3 months getting an allergy shot. So if you have a dog with allergies, nothing better than raw. Nothing. You may have a dog with a sensitive stomach. Raw generally works there, but not 100% of the time. But you probably can avoid the the prescription foods for bland diet. There are foods you can feed instead of that, they're a lot cheaper, Science Diet, Prescription Diet ID, Royal Canin has a version of it.
Pills.
Yeah, prescription diet cells. And Arena has a version of it, and they're all extremely expensive. So there are alternatives. Wherever you're shopping for pet food, whether you're going to Chewy, I think it's called Chewy Customer Service. When it comes to a website, Chewy's customer service is very good.
You mentioned hamburger meat.
Mhm.
How is that for dogs in terms of the cooking or not? How much?
Hamburger meat is, has a tendency in the human food chain to be bacteria intense. So it tends to have it could have salmonella. That's why they always tell you to cook hamburger well. I'd probably stay away from hamburger. I'd probably use more like steak, cut it up.
An egg, yeah.
But again, you're using that as a supplement. So if you want to feed them raw from human food chain, you've got to go to the butcher and you've got to get the beef lung, the beef liver, beef kidney. You got to get those beef heart. You got to get those kind of things. And afterwards, if you want to, I gave you some on one of the handouts, some information for further review. Best friend is the manufacturer's website and the manufacturer's customer service number.
Anything about, their teeth, if we don't have a lot of success cleaning them ourselves?
Teeth are an issue because a lot of dogs end up with dental issues, dogs and cats. And most dogs do not like you to brush their teeth. And cats even object to it more. And
Sure.
there are products that you can add to the water that help dissolve tartar. There are products you can put across the front teeth, and into gels, that will help reduce tartar. You can feed them, there are dental, quote unquote, dental treats that may or may not reduce tartar, okay? And the ingredients on them are not particularly great. Talk about things like greenies. But yeah, and if there are long toothbrushes that you can try to stick in there. I know my Rottweiler, will never let me stick a toothbrush in his mouth. Or if you're giving him bones to chew on, that'll help scrape. One thing that does not clean teeth is dry dog food. And that was always a thought. I feed him dry food because it's going to clean the teeth. It is way too soft to clean the teeth. If anything, a lot of it gets caught behind the teeth and causes dental disease from the carbohydrates that are in there.
Does letting them have a raw bone help?
Raw bone will help.
Okay.
Okay? Raw bone will absolutely help. Okay, it may not help his breath, but it'll certainly help clean his teeth.
What are your thoughts on bone broth?
I think bone broth is an excellent additive to dogs.
What about cats?
Both.
And I had talked to
Because you're cooking down a raw bone to get the broth.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. A lot of manufacturers of it, a lot of frozen. There's a couple of shelf stables.
You use only set like as you give them water or?
I would use bone broth more as a gravy on top of food. I think it's a little bit rich to use as a drinking source. I would use it like most people use goat's milk. You can use them interchangeably. There's bone broth, there's fish broth. Fish broth is very rich in omega 3 and 6 fatty acids. Not every dog take fish broth. Not every dog likes fish. So you have a little bit of
Cats
issue with
don't
that.
like fish sometimes too.
And a lot of cat owners will stay away from fish because of where it's caught, mercury content, things like that. I don't think it's a real issue because most of that stuff is tested, especially if you're using a reputable manufacturer. And a lot of cat food, typically canned cat food, is not made in the US. But they make it closer to where the fish are. And they're usually made in human facilities. Starkist makes a lot of canned cat food.
Any fish to stay away
Starkist
from?
out there, Thailand camera.
I get them treats from Thailand, I think.
That's most of it.
High in protein.
Thailand is fine. And, you know, you're out catching the fish. You know, you got these guys catching fish for human food chain, and some of that fish is rejected. And that fish is used for pet foods. They're taking this fish to the canneries in Thailand, because that's where they can. They're not gonna ship fish here to be canned here at 3 times the cost. So they do it in Thailand. These are human facilities selling food into the human chain in the US. I don't believe there's any issues.
Are there any fish to stay away from for cats or dogs? Like crab or
Crab's
shrimp?
You don't want to grab the shell. Grab the
No.
fine. Shrimp is fine.
Lobster.
Lobster's
I mean,
fine.
not that.
You find it?
I'm
Yeah, it's
just
out there.
wondering.
It is out there. There are lobster foods out there.
I don't even have that.
Wellness makes a lobster cat food.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
3 and 5 ounce cans.
Wellness? I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, definitely.
I know one of my cats loves shrimp because he was beating me up for my shrimp list.
Yeah, shrimp is fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
How about the paper? My dog is crazy for paper. I take him for a walk, a half-hour walk every day.
Paper
and he's always
will-
after paper, or tissues are his favorite thing in life.
My dog prefers napkins, but
Yeah.
they,
It's just-
Running it.
you don't want to do too much of it. I mean, it is a wood fiber product,
Yeah,
okay? But it's a thin product, it'll break down and they'll pass it.
yeah.
But, you know, you don't want to you try to break them out of that habit.
Yeah. Plastic.
But it's easier said
I have
than
one
done.
cat that eats my paperwork and I'm like, I don't know if I should choose on it, but I should choose on it.
My German Shepherd will, after you leave the dinner table, someone said not to get the meat scraps, but to get the napkin.
Oh, well.
And then the German Shepherd and the Rottweiler fight over that.
So, it is an unusual one.
I don't know what to make of it, but you try to break them out of it, but.
We used to be after cigarette butts.
That's not good. That is not
That's
good.
definitely not
Oh, I know, I do everything to try to prevent it, but sometimes it goes underneath and it doesn't, you know, if you don't see it.
Dogs-
I'm pretty good
dogs-
now at
Dogs will eat almost
preventing.
anything.
Yeah.
Okay, almost anything. I never know when my dog is bringing it into the backyard. Once he brought in a baby rabbit.
Oh, no.
I don't know where he found her. He found the rabbit nest. Wasn't eating his food for a while. And then we found out why, because he was feasting on fresh rabbit.
Oh.
And it's you know, it's cycle of life and it's natural food chain, but you don't want to still come in with a rabbit leg hanging out of his mouth. Okay. Or a baby possum once. Okay.
Oh.
It's the shepherd or the Rottweiler?
It's a dog.
Yeah.
Anything else?
You answered my questions.
That's very good.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
good.
you very much.
Thank you, Vince, for coming by. Thank you very much.
That's it. You have sources, just don't be afraid to use them. You got information.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks everyone for coming. And don't forget, Vince is the president of the North Brunswick Humane Association. They always are looking for volunteers.
Yep, we are always looking for volunteers.
They do amazing work in town, and we hope to do more partnerships with them in the future, hopefully in 2020.
Mhm.
And we're very happy that they've chosen to come here.